Destiny, the sub needs a purge. I'm losing my mind in there. Why? What's going on there? Please tell me what to think about this. We listened to this yesterday, motherfucker. Where have you been? The XQC clip. What? This is... What? Is the full,
what Israel has done is illegal. Do not think that...
Is the full Tucker Carlson Ted Cruz podcast out? The subreddit is filled with hardcore pro-Israel people and covert leftists that downvote any lib takes. Yeah, when I see the crazy pro-Israeli people, I permaban them. And then when I see the crazy pro-Pali people, I permaban them. So careful. I would just not comment at all on those threads if I were you. Why is this guy spamming? What is up, Flat Chastity? The Palumbo streamers are pre-recorded? Oh, it's pre-recorded. Although I think he said it'll be out tonight.
I'm ruined. Of the Ukraine war, and I vote.
Oh shit, that thing is premiering.
I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Israel.
Israel just asked for another $10 billion, sir.
Tell him it's on the way.
Oh shit. You can rewind at the start of the interview? Yeah, I'll probably go back there. Now we can see what real journalism looks like, because Tucker Carlson is a Russia simp sellout fuck. So now he's actually going to grill a politician on foreign affairs. Yeah. If I wanted to have a chat, how would I go about it? I think insurance is a scam. Put it in the subreddit. Pal spoke earlier. Why would I give a fuck about... Oh, Jerome Powell. Never mind. I don't know why everybody's spamming this in chat. I understand. Oh, wait, what did he say about anything? Did you see the Farah thing? No, what happened with that? Wait, what's all going on? Jesus. Involving who? Stagflation? Uh-oh.
I put in the behind the scenes, Fiona. See? Oh, fuck. Oh my god. What the hell?
I need to drown that out with some more mango.
Oh my god. What was that?
Wait, why? I've never been big, unless it's like directly relevant to something. I don't know. I'm not big on the... I don't know, all the random personal relationship shit, but... Or I don't know what the point is, unless it plays into something. Unless you're just trying to, I guess, harass them. Which is based, whatever. Okay, for Internet HF, what is this? I will say, and I'll never tell you this in real life. I'm just being honest, because I'm a pussy. I am a pussy. I will say that I don't know what it is, but some people, I wonder if it's a medical thing. Some people have breath that smells like death. And I'll get that over sometimes 2 days of interacting or engaging with a person. And I don't know if it's just they don't brush their teeth at all. Or if it's a thing like they've got like tonsil stones or something going on. But something has to, people need to be aware of that. You got to be aware of that. Yeah, the tonsil stones thing could be a really big thing. Be careful about that. Trying to catch up on the Iran stuff. Did the IAEA report actually find that Iran was imminently close to a nuke? They found that they had like 405 kilograms of enriched uranium 235 that was enriched to 60%. which my understanding is you'd be less than a month away from enriching all of that to weapons grade. And then making Israel go boom! Also, this is my new Men in Black trauma. Okay, I asked a couple friends yesterday, have you guys ever been at a place with a fire pit? No, never. They were like, oh wait, one place. I think one house we've been in before. Okay, you guys are either gaslighting me or it's just way different experiences. Because you guys in chat were like 95% of houses have fire pits. Okay, I feel like I've hardly ever seen these before. Florida friends? No, these are people from Vegas, Reno, Nevada, or whatever. But they travel around too. Does Dan have a fire pit? Good question. Wait. Do you have a fire pit in your backyard? Do you think if we taught all the Middle East proper dental hygiene, they would chill on wanting to genocide Israel? I feel like most of the people I met in the Israel-Palestine didn't have breath issues, but maybe it's because they drank a lot of coffee. Some people say coffee breath is bad, but I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it is tonsil stones. Like if somebody has like coffee breath that smells like coffee, I don't know how to explain this. Even like people eat like garlic or onions. There's a certain type of bad breath that is unbearable. Like if somebody's like coffee breath or even ate something weird, like I can talk and just ignore it. But there's a certain type of bad breath that when it hits you, it's like an olfact. It's like, oh, it's almost like smelling salts. It's like, it's way too much. Way too much. I don't know, but maybe it is tonsil stones. Jesus. Dan does not have a fire pit. There, fuck you guys. It's like the I haven't eaten anything in hours breath. Yeah, like the worst type of morning breath. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I think the tongue shit is all a meme. Like tongue scraping and brushing your tongue. I don't think that actually matters that much at all. You can do it if you're bored. I do it because I'm usually waiting for the conditioner in my hair because it's supposed to sit for 5 minutes anyway. So, but I don't think the tongue stuff does much of anything for. I think brushing your teeth, period, is important with toothpaste. I think that's the most important thing, in brushing well, and then probably, I guess, not having tonsil stones. Does Dan have bad breath? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever smelled bad breath around Dan. So this is a retarded question, but is it in the realm of possibility that Iran is using that enriched uranium for dual use or non-militaristic uses? Could Iran just be seeking energy solutions? No. For energy stuff, you don't really have to enrich it past everybody says 10%. Some people are saying 10% of my shot, but I saw 5%. I think 5% is like the highest you need for energy related purposes. Opinion on fluoride-free toothpaste? At that point, just brush your teeth with a toothbrush. I feel like I read at one point that that like brushing your teeth, period, with a toothbrush is like 90% of the stuff, and then like toothpaste is like an extra 10%. Like if you just brush your teeth, I mean, I think you should use toothpaste. The fluoride helps to, I think, remineralize the something, what's it, the enamel of your teeth or whatever. Like fluoride is good for that. and it might kill more bacteria. But I think the big thing on brushing is that it removes plaque, which is the bad thing, because when it sits there for too long, it calcifies or whatever. It turns into tartar and it fucks and it eats your teeth up, and it's not good. But the big thing is removing plaque, which is what toothbrushing does. And fluoride, I don't think does much, or toothpaste doesn't do much for removing plaque. It just helps to strengthen the enamel of your teeth, I think. Don't the suds from the toothpaste help with removal of stuff? Not that I'm aware of. I think plaque is just removed with physical contact. Yeah. Suds and soap and stuff has to do with... Fuck, I should remember this from my carpet cleaning days. It's called emulsification, I think. Is where you're able to lift dirt and suspend it in some solution of liquid that can be washed away with water, is the point of that. That's not... Toothpaste is not doing that for you, I don't think. Destiny is confusing brushing with hand washing. I'm absolutely not. I just drew the distinction, but thank you for joining the conversation. The worst is someone who never flosses and you can see a white border between their gums and their teeth. Like what, their bone? Like they have hardcore gingivitis, maybe? Destiny, apparently it does take more effort to enrich uranium the higher the enrichment percent goes, but why the total effort is more skewed towards the early stages because there's much higher mass of uranium being processed. At 6% enrichment, there's only 1% of the initial mass left. You would have to link me something. Unless you're a nuclear scientist and you're sourcing your own personal experience enriching uranium, you'd have to source me something saying that. What are your thoughts on flossing? I mean, you can do it, I guess. I don't have strong opinions on flossing. I think that this is a super gut feeling that I have, but I could be wrong. I feel like flossing is good for people because a lot of people suck at brushing their teeth. From the very few people that I've watched brush their teeth. Sometimes people will just like brush like on the, like they'll brush like the top and bottom. I don't know how to explain it. Like they'll run it along their teeth on both, like the top and bottom, and then they're done. I don't know how to explain it. Like if these are your teeth, these kind of look like teeth. They just brush along this surface and then they're done. And for these people, flossing is probably incredibly important. I guess everybody should floss. It's recommended by dentists, I think. But like if you're not brushing at least the surface, the flat surface here, you have to brush along the front surface, and then I think you have to brush along the back surface. If you're not doing that on your top and bottom teeth, you're not really brushing your teeth at that point. You might as well just rope. I need to know what Destiny thinks of Jojo Rabbit. I personally think it's one of the best movies. I thought it was a good movie. I think I liked it. You think it's always rude to tell someone they have bad breath when they want to know? No, it's probably always good to. I'm just too much of a pussy, so. Use an electric toothbrush? I feel like I bought another one and I left it somewhere. I don't care about electric toothbrushes. Fuck all that shit. What about mouthwash? If you want to like mint your breath, that's fine, but I don't know if mouthwash matters much either. I don't know. Just learn to brush your teeth well, okay? Floss if you want. All the other shit is bonus memes. Genetics also play a big role. True. which is also really unfortunate. I feel like genetics are one of the, like a 50% plus determining factor for developing cavities, at least. I don't know about other things, but. Ironically, not using an electric toothbrush is a horrible fucking take. What do these even look?
Let's talk about the best electric toothbrushes. Hi, my name is Whitney, and I'm a dental hygienist here to talk electric toothbrushes. And before we get started, make sure to get my free oral care guide. Click the link in the description below or in the pinned comment to join thousands of people who have already discovered all of the essential components for an effective oral hygiene routine. This guide is an action plan for preventing and maintaining a happier and healthier smile. I made it just for you, can help you stay on top of your daily dental.
You don't use one? No, I don't use one. I don't know. It feels cringe, but
habits at home and keep your teeth looking bright and white. Now, for the purpose of this video, let's put electric toothbrushes into 3 different categories. Number 1, Oral-B, or any type of oscillating, rotating powered toothbrushes. Number 2, Sonicare, or any type of sonic, vibrating powered toothbrushes. And number 3, Quip. However, keep in mind, Quip is actually considered a hybrid powered toothbrush. There's lots of these as well, and they actually have to be used differently than the regular powered toothbrushes, which we'll talk more about in just a bit. And by the way, I'm not promoting any of these. This is not a sponsored video. No one is paying me to say any of what I'm about to say. The only thing I may get is a small commission on some of the products that will be linked in the description if they have affiliate codes. So, which one is the best out of these 3 types? Oral-B, circular round head, Sonicare, traditional vibrating heads, or the hybrids like Quip? I know you're not gonna love this answer, but hear me out. It all comes down to personal preference. Which one you like more? They all should properly clean your teeth as long as they're used correctly, of course. But for this video, let's just help you decide which one will work best for your individual mouth. Let's talk about the pros and cons of each. Starting with Oral-B, the most common circular brush head. Oral-B's technology uses an oscillating, rotating series of movements. They spin. Lots of people like the feeling of these. Oral-B tends to have more affordable options due to offering more discounts and being on sale more frequently. And their brush heads, which you should change out every 3 months, are also slightly less expensive than the Sonicare brush heads. I really like these for patients with small mouths because it's a smaller brush head.
Streamer Man is wrong. You must floss. Brushing without flossing is like taking a shit and only wiping your butt cheeks. So to be clear, there's never actually been like empirical good research published that shows that flossing is preventative, I think, of any dental conditions. All of the evidence related to flossing is incredibly low quality or non-existent. Just to be clear. But
so it's easier to fit in your mouth, or if you have jaw issues and you can't open that wide, or if you have a gag reflex when touching your tongue or the roof of your mouth, these ones tend to be easier to guide exactly where you want them to go. So if you have trouble brushing your far back molars by your cheeks or by your lower back teeth, especially by the tongue, you can really get the Oral-B type brushes into these hard to reach places since the circular head.
Like, maybe you have to be.
Your far back molars by your cheeks or by your lower back teeth, especially by the tongue, you can.
Like, I would never try. This is what I don't like about some electric toothbrushes. Okay, now you have to be careful when you brush. You shouldn't be like, you can't be ripping away your gums. But like, I feel like when you brush, you should use a decent amount of force. And with these electric toothbrushes, like if I just set this on a tooth and let it go, like spin around, this feels retarded to me. I don't know. I feel like it's not doing anything. I feel like nothing is happening. Like, I just, and it's like, what? This is, I think it's cringe.
Really get the Oral-B type brushes into these hard to reach places since the circular heads are often connected to a long, slim design. One thing to keep in mind though, if you have long teeth, long, tall teeth like mine, see how they are taller in the front teeth and the back teeth, you have to make sure you guide it along the entire length of your tooth. Don't accidentally miss the gum line by going straight across. Make sure you really.
Like, really? Fuck that.
Wrap it around each tooth. Next up, Sonicare, which has a.
Also, like if you go to the dentist, when the dentist has that electric toothbrush that they use for polishing or whatever, those things are, now if I could buy that, that's like some industrial grade shit. Cause that, they put a lot of pressure on that and it's like, that's some real shit. But like these little things that go in and they're like, like I'm brushing my teeth like I have like a 3-year-old's arm power. Fuck all that shit.
Normal looking toothbrush head. Sonicare's technology uses vibrations and agitations. Most sonic toothbrushes look similar to regular manual toothbrushes in their size and shape, at least the heads of the toothbrush. However, just like Oral-B, you have to remember to still use all electric toothbrushes. You need to use them differently than regular non-electric toothbrushes. By the way, although lots of times you will see Oral-B with a little.
Oh, that is true what somebody said. Flossing can be really, really good because sometimes if your teeth aren't straight enough, there might be areas that are really hard to get brushing, and flossing can help a ton with that. That's true.
Little brush head like we just talked about. Sometimes those ones do also offer traditional brush heads that look similar to a Sonicare, the regular toothbrush look. However, they will usually still have a portion of the brush head that spins as well. Regardless, although the Sonicares all tend to look similar to the regular manual toothbrushes, I'll say it once more, you really have to remember to not use it like a regular manual toothbrush. And how to do that is simple. Just gently allow it to do its job, let it do the work for you by guiding it along the entire length from tooth to tooth. And since the Sonicare type brushes, since they tend to be larger, at least the brush heads tend to be larger, you're less likely to miss the top part of the tooth. But always check no matter which toothbrush you're using. Make sure you're not missing any spots because everyone's mouth is different. Some people do better with the Sonicares because they have larger heads and get all the surfaces, yet others prefer the slim design of the Oral-B. It's totally up to you. Both Oral-B and Sonicare are rechargeable, so they come with little chargers that they sit on depending on which one you get within both brands. There's several makes and models of both brands. The more expensive usually means that the charge will last longer, and the cheaper ones usually mean that the charge won't last as long, and there will be less features included in the brush, which we'll talk about in just a second. Sonicare brushes tend to be a little more expensive as a whole, and the charge lasts usually around 3 to 4 weeks, whereas Oral-B brushes usually last around 2 to 3 weeks, the charge. But honestly, I don't know, I feel like both of mine last a long time. Both of them. I would not base your choice off of how long the charge lasts, especially with all the new models. The charger itself is such slim design, so if you travel a lot, it's really easy to just throw in your luggage. And now, before we move on to the hybrid toothbrushes like Quip, it's important to remember that Oral-B and Sonicare toothbrushes, everything we just talked about, are considered to be 100% completely electric powered toothbrushes. So you let them do the work for you. I've said it enough times, we get it. However, hybrid toothbrushes, such as Quip, are different from true electric toothbrushes. Because they are hybrids, they are half regular, half electric, meaning you're supposed to use a different technique from the electric toothbrushing technique. You cannot just let hybrids do the work for you, because they won't. They need assistance from you. You're actually supposed to use more of a regular manual toothbrushing technique with the hybrids. And I also have a demonstration video for the regular toothbrushing technique as well, which I've also linked in the description box. Now, just looking at it, the Quip tends to be the sleekest and most aesthetic. Lots of people simply like how they look. And just like the Oral-B and the Sonicare, how there's a bunch of different brands that are similar to them. There's also a bunch of these hybrids that look like Quip now as well. I'll link a bunch of the product suggestions for all the types of toothbrushes below in the description if you're interested. But yeah, these Quip ones, they did have a little bit of a stigma, a bad, like in the dental world when they first came out, because dental providers were like, this isn't an electric toothbrush, it doesn't do the work for you, stop using it. But I think these toothbrushes were just misunderstood. The thing is, they are fine as long as you're using them differently than an electric toothbrush. Like we said, hybrids don't do the work for you like the full electric toothbrushes, so you still have to use some regular toothbrushing technique when you're using these. And it's so funny because us dental professionals, we were working so hard to inform and explain to our patients about using different technique with electric toothbrushes, so it was confusing with Quip to be like, actually use this one like a manual toothbrush, you know? So the point is, now that these hybrids have been thrown into the mix, just remember to use them properly because it's a hybrid and it needs your help. Another pro of the Quips and the hybrids is that they were one of the first to offer subscriptions for brush heads. It's a refill plan that replaces your brush head every 3 months, which is pretty cool because I know a lot
I
of
thought it was like a subscription for them to even work. Like you have like software as a service toothbrushes. Jesus.
people forget to change out their toothbrush heads, their electric toothbrush heads, because they usually don't appear as worn out as regular toothbrush heads. But even if they don't look worn, it is so important to change out your heads every 3 months. Of course, I have a video all about that as well, which I'll link in the bottom bar below. But back to the subscriptions. I've recently seen that Sonicare also has a subscription type program now as well to get your brushes refilled every 3 months. So if they did that, you know all of the other brands will probably start doing it as well. So if the brush head refill is a feature you're interested in, it's another thing that you can find in each individual product's description. Now let's talk aesthetics and sound a little more, the audio. You can hear all of them. Of course, they are not silent, but I do feel like Sonicare is slightly quieter than Oral-B. It's hard to say though. Oral-B just sounds more mechanical to me, and Sonicare is more of a humming noise. Everyone is different in what they prefer. Let's listen. Also, this is just word of mouth, but if you've never used an electric toothbrush before and you're thinking to make the switch to an electric toothbrush, I have heard that Sonicare takes more time to get used to when you use it because you really feel the vibrating in your mouth as opposed to Oral-B. But with Oral-B, you have to often pay a little more attention that you are reaching every single tooth surface of every single tooth because it is generally a smaller brush head, right? And with the Quip, I personally feel like it vibrates my hand more than it does on my teeth, but some people really like these, especially if they're hesitant to let the toothbrush do the work for them. Like if you
Jesus Christ, what is this? They have an app that tells you where you're brushing? Damn. I remember, because I feel like it was like 10 years between my dental visits before I got my Invisalign or whatever. When I went in and they did the tooth scan shit, bro, I don't know if I was just in impoverished areas in Omaha or if technology has just come a far way, but they just like put a thing in your mouth and they just like shine a light all over and then they take it out and this thing maps your entire mouth in like this perfect 3D topographical map for everything. I was like, Jesus, some wild shit. Do you have any crowns or bridges in your mouth? I think I have crowns on all of my back molars. I think. Because I think that's a normal thing, right? They put crowns there to make it so nothing gets in or something? Is that what I'm thinking of, or is it just fillings, or what do you call it? Oh, this might be an American thing. No, that's sealing. Oh, maybe sealing is what I have. How many cavities have you had? I have never had a major cavity in my life. But I think that's not because I take exceptional care of my teeth. I think it's just a lucky genetic thing or whatever. Oh, those are fillings. Crowns are worse than okay, I don't know what a crown is, so never mind. Root canals are crowns. Oh no, I told that to stream. They tried to root canal one of my teeth a while ago, which was terrifying. Crown cost me like 600 euros over 5 visits. Nice. Crown on a teeth is basically a fake tooth on it. Okay, based. What do you mean by tried? When I finished my Invisalign, one of my teeth was sore for 2 days, and then I went into my dentist, and then I said my tooth was sore, and they were like, "Oh, we have to do a root canal." I was like, excuse me, I've never had any major dental anything done in my entire life, and you're telling me I told you I had pain in a tooth for 2 days and you're telling me I need a root canal? And they're like, okay, well, I guess we can x-ray it. And then they did the x-ray and there was a little bit of inflammation at the bottom of the tooth. They're like, oh yeah, see, that inflammation means that there's an infection, and so all the pulpus said, so we have to do a root canal. And I'm like, am I able to and they're like, we have a surgeon here. And I'm like, hold on, like right now? And they're like, yeah, we can do it right now. I was like, okay, can I just can I just get another opinion or go somewhere else and just check? Like, I really need a root canal? Doesn't that mean that it's completely dead? And that happened in 2 days. And they were like, well, root canals are safe. And I'm like, okay, is there somebody else? So they referred me to a maxillofacial, I don't know what the fuck you call him, some other dental guy. And then I do a fuck ton of reading in between because that appointment was scheduled for the next day. Apparently root canals are insanely overdone in the US, or they love doing root canals. And then I went to some other facial surgeon, dental, oral guy or whatever, and he BDSM'd my tooth for 30 minutes because he put some they did like cold shit on it to see if I could feel cold stuff. And then he put hot stuff on it to see if I could feel hot stuff. And then he tapped it to see if it still hurt. And then he put like a little electro shocker thing in there to see if I could feel like a shock. And then after all that, he's like, oh. And he's like, have you had anything like done to your teeth recently? And it's like, I just finished Invisalign. And he was like, oh, well, it's probably just a little bit of inflammation from the teeth moving. It'll probably go away in a day or two. And he's like, the fact that you can feel everything means that the nerve's not dead. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then in 2 days it went away. And I was like, all right, well, I feel like that's kind of spooky that they were ready to just fucking murder my tooth, okay, at the dental place. Seems a little spooky. Do you stop going to that dentist? No, I just have to be careful when I go in because they're crazy there. But it's in Miami Beach, and I think they're very much like an aesthetics first place. Like when I was doing my Invisalign, and they started, like I had a little bit of issues halfway through with my bite, to where when I took the Invisalign out and I bite down, none of my rear teeth are making contact, like it's a little bit elevated. And so I'm like, I go into the dentist and they're like, oh, okay, no problem. We can like fix that, don't worry. And I'm like, okay. And so they put me back, and then the surgeon comes in, and then they got everything set up. And then I hear this, and I'm like, wait. He's like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, what are we doing right now? And he's like, oh, we're just going to sand your tooth down a little bit. And I'm like, okay. I only get one set of these. Well, technically it's my second set. Okay. I only get one adult set of these. Can we talk a little bit more about, you're just going to start sanding away? And they're like, oh, it's just like a fraction of a millimeter. And then, so it's like, okay, all right, fine, I guess if you have to. But it's like, Jesus, what, can you like tell me this first? I don't know. God damn. This is something my girlfriend complains about often. Others will attempt to make up charges, especially with root canals. They'll intentionally drill into pulp to charge for even more work. I don't know about that. In my opinion, dentists are kind of like Jiffy Lube, to where they recommend a bunch of extra stuff that like you might not need, but it's like, it's like you can get it and it's probably better to have it than not for most people, but it's like super extra and you don't really need it, if that makes sense. Like root canals are relatively safe and the tooth will probably be fine for a long time, and you won't have any, because like an untreated infection in there can lead to a whole bunch of horrible shit, like decay in the bone of your jaw. Like the worst case from an untreated nerve infection that goes bad and turns shit, that can get really bad. And since root canals are relatively safe and they do them so much, they probably are just like, fuck it, we just root canal everybody. But you know that for wisdom teeth, the Europeans don't typically get anesthetic, but in the US it's universal. I do know that. Everybody gets anesthetic, even in Europe. They just get it's called local anesthesia, where they inject at the site and numb it up, as opposed to general anesthesia or partial or half anesthesia, where they kind of like knock you out or you're sleeping. Destiny, that dentist sounds retarded. You for sure would know if you needed a root canal. You'd be howling in pain. I had one because I had an abscess from past trauma to the tooth. I had to go to urgent care because how much pain I was in and how much swelling I had. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think if the root of the tooth is fully dead and the infection hasn't spread more, you might not have any pain at all because the nerve will be dead. I don't know if you'll feel anything, no? It's possible you could have an infection that's like causing a lot of pain or whatever, but root canals can make it so that your tooth grays out over time. Well, I think because what'll happen is you have a nerve and you've got blood flow in your teeth, and the nerve provides sustenance for your tooth to stay alive. Now, your tooth is like a pretty boring thing that doesn't need that much sustenance. So if you do a root canal and you remove all of this, your tooth will die. But I think it takes like decades for the tooth to die. So like generally you can leave the tooth in. That's why they do the root canal instead of replacing the whole. I think you can leave it in for like 10, 20, 30 years before eventually the tooth will kind of decay and you have to take it out. But Should I insist on getting general anesthesia for the wisdom tooth? I guess it depends on your personal pain tolerance or whatever. I did local. I thought it was fine. It feels a little weird watching some dude reach in and just rip teeth out of your mouth, but I feel like local is fine. I think it's okay. And it's a lot cheaper if you're paying for it yourself. And nobody can rape you while you're out, like they might with general anesthesia. What are your thoughts on the fake news wisdom teeth surgery? I know people who've been told for decades they need their wisdom teeth taken out right away. It feels like mouths in general today just aren't built for wisdom teeth anymore. I don't know. I feel like they should just get removed, but maybe not for everybody. I don't know. How much more expensive is general anesthesia? When I was paying cash, I thought they told me general would cost $1,000 more, and local would just be like $100 or something. Jesus. Okay. Karen Reed has been found not guilty of murdering her Boston police officer boyfriend in 2022. She probably didn't do it, right? I feel like I read a little bit about this case a long time ago. Are you going to do Iranian history? Sure, we started yesterday. I didn't know that Iran was completely and totally never a part of the Ottoman Empire. I thought at the maximum expansion of the Ottoman Empire, I thought it encompassed things like Iran and Afghanistan and Pakistan. Or I didn't know it didn't go that far east. So, are you resistant to anesthesia? Every time I've had tooth work done, I've had to get extra numbing shots. I even woke up from general anesthesia in pain. I have no idea. I don't think I've ever had general anesthesia before. What are mouths built for in 2025? Suck in your mom's dick. I think that I don't know if this is 100% accepted now, but if you're chewing a lot growing up, I think that is supposed to cause your mouth to grow a bit larger as you work the muscles and the bone grows to fit and everything. I think chewing a lot of stuff growing up helps, but now all of the baby food is very soft. I feel like that's the leading theory thing that I've read for why our mouths don't tend to accommodate our wisdom teeth anymore. It's questionable. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, it's a theory. I mean, why does anything evolve for anything? It's not like we can ever 100% know, right? Or I learned about Iran just so that in 6 months, some debates with people who don't know anything will be like, well, I mean, I kind of want to know. I'm curious personally. Why doesn't Iran get along with anybody else? We read it for like an hour yesterday. Although even reading a little bit about this, there's stuff that now starts to make a little bit more sense. Iran being so heavily split between the Brits and the Russians, Iran never being a formal part of the Ottoman Empire, viewing themselves, because even though Persians are different than, so like I know for instance, well no, I don't, like Turkish people see themselves, and they are different than Arabs, and they see themselves as better than, especially as the rules of the Ottoman Empire. And when the breakup of the Ottoman Empire happened, like I think Turkey had their own revolt to like iron out their own country and everything. And then I think Egypt was an area that had a strong identity of itself as well. And then the other countries just weren't as much for a variety of reasons. Maybe because of, like in Jordan, for instance, the British kind of installed their own monarchy there, royal family, which seemed to work out well for them. Just because of the other countries kind of ended up going, but it makes sense why Iran is incredibly different from all these. I don't know, but yeah, I'm sure we'll learn more as we go through it all. The Shah is just a king also. Just a king. Shah means king. And Qajar is like empire. Also, you learn peripheral issues here as well, which is nice. That you can also borrow for other debates. So, for instance, the Russian Empire, and I'm sure the Soviets, and I'm sure you can learn a lot about Soviet. Like, these people also meddled in foreign affairs. People always say it's just Western colonialism, or it was just the British, or it was just Western Europe and America, but other people meddled as well. And I thought it was interesting that during their little constitutional crisis, you did see that there is a lot of genuine religious debate, even amongst Muslims, as crazy and wacky as they are, about whether or not a democratic government was possible, viable, was religiously permissible. And at the time, the largest Islamic leaders seemed to be arguing that, no, you can totally have a constitution and a democracy that works just fine because, and I think their arguments under Shia Islam, the arguments were that you can't have a true real government until the hidden imam, the super ultra secret final imam comes back. So in the meantime, you might as well just choose the least shitty government, which seems to be a democracy. So that's good. Good peripheral issues. Do you not usually use a map for reference during studying? I think you should always use a map for reference. It's good to look up any place that you hear referenced just so you can get an idea, because geography can inform a lot of the stuff that's happening, like where things are kind of matter, and it feeds into the understanding of what's going on, right? Like, of all the nations that fought with Israel the most, why was it always Syria, Jordan, and Egypt? And it's like, I don't know, maybe they hated them the most, but then if you look at a map, you're like, oh, they're the guys that are right next to them, so. Why not just hire a tutor instead of teaching yourself? It seems more efficient. Especially for this region, I don't trust anybody. I have no trust for anybody. Maybe not for anything, I don't know. Especially after seeing how much like Finkelstein gets glazed and stuff, and then seeing how subpar the scholarship is in his books. Same thing with Irving, although I guess these guys aren't cited as formal historians in the area. But even in formal historians, like Ilan Pape is considered a real historian, and yeah, I don't know. I'd rather get a foundation of knowledge. I feel like at this point I can kind of suss out like what seems to be kind of bullshit and what's not. And then once you have a foundation of knowledge, then from there you can kind of branch out more and read stuff. But if I'm getting everything from one person, then it's too much. No shot, bro. It's 3:30. Guess the population of Iran in 1905? I don't even know what the borders of Iran were in 1905. Do you trust Benny Morris? I do. But I wouldn't know enough to trust him prior to reading anything, right? If I didn't have any foundation of knowledge at all, I wouldn't. Wait, what? Today I learned that during World War I, Belgian pilot Willy Coppens came under fire from an enemy observation balloon. In response, he landed his plane on top of the balloon and turned off his engine. When the balloon descended, he slid off and flew away.
For days, Israel's defenses have largely held up against Iran's missile attacks. But there's a growing concern that Israel is burning through its defensive weapons. And its Arrow interceptors, which play a key role in taking out Iran's ballistic missiles, are in short supply, according to a U.S. official. The United States, which has been helping Israel shoot down...
I think the long-distance bigger missile interception things are called Arrow 2 and Arrow 3.
...on threats, is also expending its munitions. The U.S. official and analysts familiar with the numbers say that Iran has more missiles than Israel and the U.S. have interceptors, raising concerns about Israel's ability to defend itself long term. So here's what the interceptor shortfall means for Israel, its allies, and the broader Middle East. Israel uses different systems to provide a multi-layered defense of its airspace. The Arrow 3 is considered the crown jewel of this network. With a range of about 1,500 miles, the Arrow 3 is used to counter long-range ballistic missiles, including...
Why doesn't Israel give us money for those missiles instead of Congress just giving them away for free? Probably because we consider them an important partner in the region, and it would probably feel weird to charge them for missiles when we give, like, Egypt a billion. I think... How much money do we give to Egypt? Is it on the scale of billions per year? How much money United States give Egypt? Is this only measured in foreign assistance, or... Oh my God. What was the billion in this article? Wicker also lambasted the administration for taking the money from a different security partner, calling it especially counterproductive since Egypt has proven receptive to this administration's human rights concerns. The United States considers Egypt a crucial partner for Middle East security and a pillar of regional stability, both as an incentive than a reward for the Camp David Accords that brought peace between Israel and Egypt in '78. The two countries quickly became the largest recipients of U.S. security assistance. Since then, the U.S. has provided Egypt with more than $50 billion in military aid and $30 billion in economic assistance, according to the State Department. So $80 billion since '78. So we've given Egypt quite a bit of money. I don't know how much we give them today or what that support looks like today, though. But also, I don't know what the fuck they need all the military aid for. I don't know what the fuck they're... I don't know. Who knows?
Including those that fly above the Earth's atmosphere. Arrow 3 has been critical in countering attacks from Iran and Yemen, and it can intercept threats before they cross into Israel's airspace. The Arrow 2, an older version of the system, is also used to intercept short to medium-range ballistic missiles. Then there's David Sling, primarily used to counter medium-range ballistic missiles, among other threats. And finally, the Iron Dome, which is used to shoot down short-range threats like rockets from Gaza. Experts say the Iron Dome is not playing a major role in this current conflict with Iran, and that the Arrow systems and David Sling have been key. Even though some missiles have slipped through, Israel's layered defense has proven to be extremely effective. Israel says its interception rate for ballistic missiles is about 90%, and of the 370 missiles fired by Iran in recent days, about 30 have made an impact as of June 17th. But as Tom Carrico, the director of the Missile Defense Project at CSIS, put it to me, the capability is not the question, it's the capacity that matters. And capacity could be a huge problem, because arrows play a key role in shooting down not just Iran's ballistic missiles, but also threats from Iranian proxy groups like the Houthis in Yemen. In a statement, the Israeli Defense Forces said, the IDF is prepared and ready to handle any scenario. Unfortunately, we are unable to comment on matters related to munitions. Israel doesn't talk about how many interceptors it has, because if its enemies knew that number, they would know how many missiles to fire at the country. The company that makes the Arrow interceptors, IAI, did not respond to requests for comment. Back in December, Israel's defense ministry struck a deal with IAI to make more Arrow 3 interceptors. However, the Arrows are complex missiles that cost more than $2 million apiece and take time to produce. Analysts say, in general, defensive weapons are harder and more expensive to make than offensive weapons because they have to be more sophisticated and more precise than the missiles they're designed to take out. Plus, in some cases, you have to fire several interceptors in order to neutralize a missile. That's why Israel has been focused on taking out Iran's missile and drone capabilities on the ground during its aerial campaign. The IDF says it has dismantled more than 1/3 of Iran's missile launchers. But Iran has still been able to launch volleys of missiles at Israel. The United States, aware of Israel's interceptor capacity issues for months, has been augmenting the country's defenses.
We are full of gratitude and thanks for the defensive systems that the United States has put in play.
There's the ground-based THAAD system, which can intercept missiles inside or outside the atmosphere, and the U.S. has sent Navy ships into the region, which can counter missiles with SM-2, SM-3, and SM-6 interceptors.
Wow.
Plus, fighter jets can shoot down drones, missiles, and other threats.
Wow.
And I can say with authority that they have saved hundreds, perhaps thousands of lives over the past 4 days since Iran has been firing these ballistic missiles into our population centers.
But U.S. interceptors aren't unlimited either. For example, defense documents show that the U.S. has only procured about 600 THAAD interceptors to date. So what does all of this mean for the current conflict in the Middle East?
We're not looking for a ceasefire. I didn't say I was looking for a ceasefire. Remember, Iran cannot have any nuclear weapons. Very simple.
Analysts say that whatever happens, officials need to act fast to end the war because the U.S. and Israel can't afford to sit and intercept missiles for an extended period of time.
Okay, well, that was worthless. Thank you.
Israel is attacking Iran due to Iran's efforts to enrich uranium. But what does enrich uranium even mean? Lucky for you, I do know a little bit about this stuff, and I did a 45-minute peer-reviewed scientific video on it called How Nuclear Weapons Work. You can find it at ryanmcbeth.substack.com or after this one. There's also a slideshow in case you want to do your own class.
Wow.
So here's a basic primer with simple science and some M&Ms. Now, there are multiple flavors of isotopes of uranium, but when you dig uranium out of the...
Also, I'm sorry, people kept linking this yesterday, and it just seemed fucking retarded, or some random schizo meme shit that I didn't give a fuck about, so I don't know why they kept linking it. And then I finally saw this last night. What the fuck? What? Why? Does Mike Huckabee normally text like this? Bro, are you okay? Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe ever. The decision's on your shoulders. I would not want to be made by anyone else. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice that matters, his voice. I am your appointed servant in this land, and I'm available for you, but I do not try to get in your presence often because I trust your instincts. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Truman in 45. I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes, ears, and voice, and to make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post. Our flag will not come down. You did not seek this moment. This moment is about you. It is my honor to serve you, Mike Huckabee. Like, I'm sorry, but for as much as Christians want to cry about religious shit, as an atheist, this shit makes me cringe so fucking hard. Like, I don't ever want to feel like some fucking retard is praying to an imaginary man in the sky to decide whether or not we need to nuke somebody or not. Jesus Christ. Whatever, though.
The ground, it's mostly an isotope called uranium-238. Uranium is a basic primer with simple science and some M&Ms. Now, there are multiple flavors of isotopes of uranium, but when you dig uranium out of the ground, it's mostly an isotope called uranium-238. Uranium-238 is not the explodey kind of uranium. But mixed in with that uranium-238 is another isotope, about 0.72% of the explodey kind of uranium called uranium-235. Don't worry about the science. Here's my other video for that. Just know that the 235 isotope is the explodey kind of uranium that you want. So here's how you make a nuclear bomb. You dig uranium out of the ground. You process it into a powder called yellow cake. Then you turn it into a gas called uranium hexafluoride. Then you spin the gas in a centrifuge that's going really, really fast. Since uranium-235 is slightly lighter than uranium-238, it separates to the sides of the centrifuge. Then you turn the uranium hexafluoride back into a solid, then you put it into a bomb. Now, if you're making nuclear power, you only need to enrich uranium to about 5% of uranium-235. If you're making a bomb, you need to enrich it to about 90%. And note, you only need like 33 pounds or 16 kilos of uranium-235 to make a bomb. Making the bomb, especially a uranium-type gun design, is actually the easy part. The hard part is enriching the uranium in the first place. In fact, if you watch the movie Oppenheimer, they make the entire film about making the bomb.
Sloppenheimer.
But the real story, like I think about 90% of the funding was actually geared towards enriching the uranium. The science on making the bomb was pretty much settled. If you put 33 pounds of uranium together, it will reach critical mass and explode. In fact, the bomb design that was dropped on Hiroshima, the little boy, it wasn't even tested because getting uranium to critical mass is just physics. The scientists knew it was going to work. So why is it so dangerous that Iran is enriching uranium? Well, it actually gets easier to enrich uranium the more you enrich it. Think of it like picking the green M&Ms out of a bag of regular M&Ms. At the beginning of the sorting process, on average, a bag of M&M contains about 16% green and about 84% other colors. So if you're spending hours sifting and spinning and sorting, you get a handful of green. But once you develop a process to pick out the M&Ms, you get better at it, you can do it faster, and with every subsequent pass in the centrifuge, there's fewer and fewer impurities. It gets easier and easier to process. That's why the world freaks out when Iran gets past that enrichment threshold. Once you reach about 60% enrichment, the hard part's over. There's just fewer impurities. So it's easier to get to 90% enrichment from 60% enrichment than it is to get from 0.72% enrichment to 60% enrichment. Every spin of the centrifuge just gets them closer to get from 0. So it's easier to get to 90% enrichment from 60% enrichment than it is to get from 0.72% enrichment to 60% enrichment. Every spin of the centrifuge just gets them closer to that 90% enrichment number and a bomb. Now, the night that Israel attacked Iran, it was almost a full moon. That means 98% illumination. Here's why this is important. You never want to perform an attack during a full moon because it makes your aircraft easier to spot with the naked eye, and you lose the advantage that you have with night vision and thermal equipment in the aircraft.
Is that true? Well, I mean, if he's saying it, I assume it's true.
Number and a bomb. Now, the night that Israel attacked Iran, it was almost a full moon. That means 98% illumination. Here's why this is important. You never want to perform an attack during a full moon because it makes your aircraft easier to spot with the naked eye.
Is spotting aircraft with the naked eye an important part of operations today? I would have imagined everything is done via instruments like radar and shit, but, well, maybe not.
and you lose the advantage that you have with night vision and thermal equipment in the aircraft. The next new moon over Iran would be June 25th, 2025. So ideally, that's when you'd have the greatest advantage of an attack. So why did Israel attack Iran when it had less of an advantage, when they're profiling themselves against a bright night sky? And I think that it's an indicator that Iran was really close to building a bomb. And that's why. So if you want to watch my full video on how nuclear weapons work, you can go to ryanmcbeth.substack.com. Dude, it's $5. Totally worth it. One more thing. Check to see if you're subscribed. YouTube keeps on subscribing people. You can grab my Intel Life shirt at bunkerbranding.com. And thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I guess if they're shooting flak and everything, they're just using normal cameras and by eye and everything, sure. Don't need this. The fuck is this? Why was I link this? As concern grows about America's falling birth rate, new research suggests that about half of women who want children are unsure if they will follow through and actually have a child. About 25% say they won't be bothered that much if they don't. The capitalistic obsession with the birth rate is very MLM coded. The people at the top are anxious. They won't have the renewable sources of labor they need to exploit for their lifestyles. I think a lot of people wouldn't want kids if they'd have to watch them be used and abused by billionaires and despots. Holy fucking cringe. Okay. Jesus.
How do nuclear weapons? In the interview, and it doesn't seem like any of the journalists watched the interview. They didn't even quote it. They didn't quote about the fact that I'm Jewish, and I said in the interview itself that I'm Jewish when I was asked my ethnicity by the mayor. They didn't talk about his plans to be stronger with immigration. They didn't talk about his plans for crypto. They didn't talk about...
My guess is when he says he's Jewish, there's like... It's like, does this originate from Hotep stuff, or is it Nation of Islam stuff, where they say they're Jewish or whatever because all African Americans can trace their origination back to a people who had a similar ancestry as Semitic people, so all black people are Jewish or something? Is it, or black Israelites? I don't know. It's some fucking retarded cringe shit. I don't know.
About his plans to be stronger with immigration.
Wait, he did a DNA test and he's part Jewish. What kind of Jew? Link me the thing.
They didn't talk about his plans for crypto. They didn't talk about his 24-hour zone plans. They did ask him why.
Sneako finds out he's Jewish.
He fought the Nazis in World War II, and I'm a product of the Holocaust. My grandfather, he fought the Nazis in World War II, and I have relatives that died in Auschwitz. So I'm an excited. And then he immigrated to Haiti, and then met my black grandmother. You look at me like I'm lying right now, but that's the truth. My last name is like a Polish Hungarian name, and yeah, I would not exist without this. I only started to really understand a lot of this stuff recently, but that's why my grandfather from Hungary immigrated to Haiti and met my grandma. So my dad's half black, and then part white, part Jewish, and my mom's Filipino. So if someone is
does he say like what percentage of what ethnicity in this somewhere, or?
Offended by the song, do you relate to them? Like, you still find it funny, but okay, you think anyone that's offended by the song is overreacting?
But he's saying it in the whole song. It's like, they took my kids from me, they froze my bank account, so I became the villain. Nigga, Heil Hitler. It's like, you took everything from me, you tried to ruin my life, so I'm the villain now. I'm gonna say the one thing, I'm gonna say exactly what's gonna piss you off the most. And it's, you're gonna do everything you can to take everything away from me, which they did. It's off of all the DSPs. Every single digital streaming platform has deleted the song. It's like people on YouTube are getting banned for reacting to it, people on TikTok are getting banned for playing it. Spotify has, this is hate speech. And then if you look at Spotify's hate speech policy, it's like, you can't, no violent rhetoric. It's like, no violent rhetoric. What about everything in hip hop? What about all the niggas that they shoot? All the op hats that they smoke? What about all of drill music, an entire genre of music about murdering black people? What about Lil Nas X twerking on the devil? That stuff isn't considered hate speech or isn't considered bad rhetoric when you say nigga Heil Hitler, and that's the one song that needs to be taken off everywhere and completely silenced. The point was proven.
Interesting. That's a good interesting comparison that you've made. So you're saying that So firstly, would you categorize it as hate speech, but you'd say it's the same thing, so it's funny, but it's also hate speech, but it's similar to other videos that could be seen as hate speech as well that are allowed on those platforms? Is that what you think? I don't know you think all of them are hate speech. So would you compare it to, let's say, a rap song where it's all about killing other people, or the drilling, whatever, the drillers music that is all about killing black people? So are you comparing to those and saying all these are hate music or hate speech, but this one was banned, the others were not banned?
No, it depends on your intention. But a lot of drill music, they literally do say, like, I hate you, I want to kill you, and that's the whole song. Like, how much they hate someone else who lives on 63rd Street instead of 62nd Street.
Criticizing certain people.
It was, I don't care. What, like 1% Jewish, whatever.
Are you with this raging anti-Semite who loves everyone? They wrote down hate influencer on the New York Post. What does that even mean? What is hate influencer?
Okay, I don't care about this either. Ryan McBeth video on nuclear weapons, 45 minutes, we don't need this. Hassan Malls at a chatter, we do need this.
Say it's cringe bomb, okay? You're fucking cringe, and you're...
Hassan Malls at chatter who calls him out for clout chasing the FaZe boys. Oh, is he trying to clout chase on FaZe now too? Hassan has been like tweeting at and like mentioning... Dude, the stuff he said about Billie Eilish and the music stuff was such a crazy sociopathic. Like, I don't listen to music or enjoy music, but I support the process of creating music and creators. Like, what? This is like the most, like, this sounds like a robot. What the fuck? That was such a weird statement.
Say it's cringe bomb, okay? You're fucking cringe, and you're... This is cute as hell. Hassan wants to be a cool hip FaZe boy so bad. It's good content, not gonna lie. This is such a funny fucking thing to say, especially considering that, like, I don't often interact with the FaZe boys at all, but I still do interact with them. You know what I mean? Like, I know them. I sometimes do content with them. I play basketball with them. I don't know why so many people get so fucking butt mad whenever this interaction happens. And I think I know exactly why. It's because your favorite content creator is a pathetic little fucking cretin who never leaves his house.
Is that supposed to be about me or Asmongold? This is probably about Asmongold, I guess.
So when you see a political content creator who isn't like that and who has the capacity to just like basically interact with these people, you go, I'm ass mad. Why won't my pedophilic loser school shooter favorite political content creator not interact with these people? I'm gonna wage his wars for you. It's like, okay, man, have fun. Like,
let my feelings
I'm a
get the best of me.
Are you okay, buddy? Okay.
God, you're an you're an Ashkenazi Jew. Let's go.
My dad is.
Okay. Oh my. Okay. Oh my God. You're an you're an Ashkenazi Jew. Let's go.
My dad is 26% Ashkenazi Jew, which means
you're
half. 13%, well, 12.5 really. So it shouldn't be 26, it should be 25. But yeah, and then the rest is Eastern Europe.
Does it work that way? I guess it must, right? Are there like choices in genes? If you have two children and the children are both from parents that have a mixture of ethnicities, is it always like just divided by 2? Or are there certain genes that can pass on that make you more, I guess it averages out? You can get random amounts of shit. I guess there are so many genes that it would probably always average out or something, huh? Damn, I wonder how many Jewish genes I have. What the fuck? Please, God. How long is this going to go today? But this is his dad's results, no? Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't have his own results. Maybe he doesn't want to give his DNA or something. I don't know. Oh, no. Somebody said, no, it doesn't work that way. My siblings and I all did one and we're all different percentages. My brother's more Scottish and I'm more Spanish, for example. Oh, maybe it doesn't average out then. Okay. If your mother is not Jewish, you are not Jewish. That's how it works. Maybe from like a strictly religious perspective, but going to address the Iran post on the subreddit. What? Long-time Iranian Destiny fan, disappointed in the community. Just before I start, I've been Destiny fan since 2018, now watching almost every video and also looking around on the subreddit. I'm your typical moderate libcuck. I unfollowed Hassan and Vosh after learning they are not genuine and extremists. I'm a fervent atheist. Me and my... Wait, hold on. Okay, now that you guys have some background on me, thanks for my protection, the events will open my eyes. Seeing how bloodthirsty and callous DGG is towards me and my people has been a black-pilling experience for me. Seeing the same reaction after October 7th caused me to take a quick break from the community because I thought this was a temporary emotional reaction. Things every time a post is made about Iranian death or casualty, it's met with the same reaction, either callous jokes, outright denial of it happening, or blaming Hamas or Islamic regime, or DG being realistic about the war. When it seems he spends 99% of the time dunking and shitting and banning one side only. This essentially foster this community. My hope is Israel keeps targeting the key figures. The government stops its attacks on infrastructure and people. Let's see. No links to any other DGG posts. No links to anything else. All right. Good luck. I'm good on that. Let's see if this guy links anything. Destiny bans very few people on the subreddit. Ha, that's what you think. The rest of us don't have an editorial take on Gaza and Iran. You can look at polls people conduct. A majority of users not wanting military intervention. Super majority not wanting a war. Majority of people don't own fireplaces. Based. Okay, good one. Don't care about the Karen Reed shit. Fuck that. Registration unit. What is this? Why did you ban him? Because he made a post crying about how too many people on the subreddit were saying a thing and linked absolutely no examples, and I don't even know if the claims he's making is true. It's retarded. I see too much shit like this pop up. I always insta-ban. It's always concern troller shit. If you have a thing you want to complain about, then post an example of it. Don't put a bunch of whatever bullshit and claim some shit, and then don't put anything, and then they just become honeypot threads. It's retarded. Waste of time. So by NSD file registration unit. What was I linked this for? What is this about? What is this for? Name of registrant, Lumen 8 Advisors LLC. Page 4 of the appendix. Is this the Tucker Qatar thing? Is this his company? Come on, okay. I guess we can't speak in full sentence or anything. What is this? Report reminded the horseshoe is partially a result of active measures like this. Qatar paid top dollar to ensure this interview took place. Foreign Agent Registration Act records show that Luminated Advisors LLC, a legal consulting company for which very little public information helps facilitate between Carlson and the Qatari dignitary. The embassy of the Qatar, or state of Qatar, pays Luminated Advisors $180,000 per month to provide media and communication coaching and consulting. Okay, don't know. Don't care. Not enough info.
Well, it's not just parents.
Bro just wants a handshake, but okay. Is the Washington Examiner a fake news site or just New York Post tier? Washington Examiner is pretty shit. I think like a little bit worse than the New York Post from my recollection. What is this?
Well, it's not just parents and students who are adjusting to new back-to-school routines. Your commute likely will be a little slower with all those extra buses on the road. It's a good time for a refresher about what to do when the school bus is stopped. WRAL's Megan Glover is here with some information that could save lives. Megan.
Yeah, Julian, all drivers must not only be aware around school buses, but also know the law of the road. Now, if you're not sure when to stop for a school bus, well, we got some guidance for you. Let's start with a simple 2-lane road. When the bus stops, all traffic from both directions must stop. Now, we add a center turning lane. Again, when the bus stops, all traffic from both directions has to stop until the stop arm retracts. Here's a 4-lane road without a median separation. This is another situation where all the traffic stops when a bus is stopped. Let's look now at divided highways with a median separation. When the bus stops, only traffic following the bus must stop. It's a similar situation with a road that has 4 or more lanes and a center turning lane. When the bus stops, traffic following the bus must stop while the arm is out. Traffic on the other side can keep going. And some more things to keep in mind when backing. Also know the law of the road. Now, if you're not sure when to stop for a school bus, well, we got some guidance for you. Let's start with a simple 2-lane road. When the bus stops, all traffic from both directions must stop.
Yes.
Now, we add a center turning lane. Again, when the bus stops, all traffic from both directions has to stop until the stop arm retracts. Here's a 4-lane road without a median separation. This is another situation where all the traffic stops when a bus is stopped. Let's look now at divided highways with a median separation. When the bus stops, only traffic following the bus must stop. It's a similar situation with a road that has 4 or more lanes and a center turning lane. When the bus stops, traffic following the bus must stop while the arm is out. Traffic on the other side can keep going. Median separation. This is another situation.
I'm trying to think if I've ever in my life seen a school bus stop like this. Bro. Check on your neighbor to see what they're doing. Somebody said this is like the sound of like water loading or paint loading into an automatic thing or whatever. Just usually they're done by like noon. The worst for shit like this, by the fucking way, is when you work a graveyard shift. At least it's like, it's just annoying. When you work graveyard, bro, nobody respects your fucking time. There's construction, there's noise, there's whatever, and nobody gives anything. Have I said this is temporary? No, it is temporary. They were doing like a huge renovation on the outside of the building that's been taking a couple of weeks, and they have like, I think a few more units to go. Like they're almost moved through the whole building, but. Go over there and help them. So fucked. I can't rehearse with a full band at 1 p.m. on a weekday, but some fucking cunt can swing hammers and run power tools at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. Can you really not? What is this? UCLA graduate celebrates by showing off the ChatGPT he used for his final projects right before officially graduating. Why not just make the final projects harder? That sounds like a skill issue on the teacher's side. What? Why is this lady so fucking... On Monday, I reported on anti-ICE protests taking over Roblox. One of the kids I interviewed texted me this morning to share that the Roblox protesters are now facing police violence. Hello, I was in a Roblox ICE protest, but then we all got shot by the police. Is this... Have you seen the smash drama that caused Aziz to die? Wait, is that the guy who killed himself? And if so, no. Ukrainian 7-year-old who came to Israel for cancer treatment and her 9 and 13-year-old cousins killed in June 14th Iranian missile strike. Damn, that's unlucky. Where did they die? How many people even died in Israel from missile strikes? Where were they at? Check the comment. Lil bro jinxing every country he entered. That's a good meme, okay? I mean, just in a video game. Three days after an Iranian missile struck a residential building in the coastal city of Bat Yam, the names of 5 Ukrainian victims, all members of the same family, were released. Damn, that's super unlucky. Holy shit. Someone in YouTube chat said, bro left Nagasaki for Hiroshima. Jesus Christ.
Hurt his feelings, too. You know, like, there was a part in there where he was like, this shit hurts, nigger.
Whoa! Why? Okay. Supreme Court of the United States. Same-sex transaction. 118 pages. I'm good on that. The challenges involved in military strikes against Iran's nuclear programmee, Brits programmee. Looks like Zohran Mamdani is tied with Cuomo for New York City in polls. Isn't that on a poll that his own campaign posted? That dude is fucking insane. If he wins, that'd be pretty wild, but I don't know. It's New York, mayor, fuck him. Who's better, Cuomo or Zoran? Probably the Cuomo guy, I would say. Versus the actual insane socialist guy? Probably, I'm going to go with the... All of the weapons available to the Israeli Air Force and all except the 30,000-pound GBU-57B and the 5,000-pound available to the U.S. would likely require several impacts into the same crater to burrow down to the facility and get a weapon through to explode within it successfully. This is okay. See Zoran's comments about globalize the Intifada? Yeah, but I've only ever heard conservatives mention it, so I don't know if it's as bad as it is. Is it? What did he say? Jesus Christ. Was it just in an article? Is there no video? Or the first one with Tim Miller? Is it this? Okay.
There obviously is anti-Semitism.
Just a YouTube short, whatever. Got it.
Semitism on the right, but there's anti-Semitism coming from the left and coming from these protests. And one example I think of is this phrase, globalize the Intifada, which is a very popular phrase at protests on the left. Maybe some people say that phrase with good intent, but there's certainly some people who are saying that phrase with violent intent. So I wonder what you think about that, about the phrase globalize the Intifada and what we've seen as some anti-Semitism coming from the left-wing protesters.
The first thing, as you were saying, is anti-Semitism is a real issue in our city. And it's one that can be captured in statistics, the ones that you're citing. It's also one that you will feel in conversations you have with Jewish New Yorkers across the city. This is something that has to be the focus of the next mayoral administration, is not just talking about it, but tackling it. And these are the conversations that have informed our commitment around increasing funding for anti-hate crime programming by 800% in our Department of Community Safety. You know, to the question of language that's being used, I am someone who am less comfortable with the idea of banning the use of certain words, and that I think it is more evocative of a Trump-style approach to how to lead a country.
Sure, but like, does that just make you uncomfortable? Like the phrase globalize Intifada, from the river to the sea?
What has Zoran said? Literally everywhere I see him, he gets overwhelmingly positive praise. Am I just in a bubble? He's loved by lefties. He's just got a bunch of shitty lefty economic policy. I think he's like openly like a fucking socialist. Isn't he like a DSA member? It's just a cringe, like, just all his policies are dog shit and like standard lefty shit, but...
lead a country.
Sure, but like, does that just make you uncomfortable? Like the phrase globalize Intifada, from the river to the sea, does that make you uncomfortable?
I know people for whom those things mean very different things. To me, ultimately, what I hear in so many is a desperate desire for equality and equal rights in standing up for Palestinian human rights. And I think what's difficult also is that the very word has been used by the Holocaust Museum when translating the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising into Arabic, because it's a word that means struggle. Muslim man who grew up post 9/11, I'm all too familiar in the way in which Arabic words can be twisted, can be distorted, can be used to justify any kind of meaning. And I think that's where it leaves me with a sense that what we need to do is focus on keeping Jewish New Yorkers safe. And the question of...
Are we right-wing now? You don't have to be right-wing to think that commies are cringe as fuck, but...
permissibility of language is something that I haven't ventured into.
Okay, I don't think he's called for globalize the Intifada here, but... Writing USA intercepting Iranian missiles. US only has 400 SM-3 interceptors that are launched from ships, so they're basically wasting a small, limited amount of interceptors on shitty Iranian missiles. Super ironic because they pulled out of Ukraine to focus on the Indo-Pacific. Okay. Kamala made the argument that there would be people to rein her crazy policies in. Don't you think that would be similar to people around Zoran? Probably. But rather than just reining in shitty policies, although to be fair, I don't know. My guess, I'm totally just guessing that Cuomo is like a status quo Democrat, which I would take over a socialist. But I don't know. Maybe Cuomo has worse policies, but...
Hello, class.
Okay, don't care about this. I'm going to read why the New York Times said he shouldn't be on the ballot. From The Hill? Why wouldn't I just read it from the New York Times? The New York Times editorial board has weighed in on the city's crowded mayoral race, urging voters not to back State Assembly member Zohran Mamdani in next week's Democratic primary, despite not directly endorsing another candidate. The Times editorial board, which announced last year that it would no longer endorse in local and state elections, made clear Monday that despite its second formal endorsement, it believes voters should rank Mamdani in any. It should not rank him in any of the spots. Election sees ranked choice voting. Mr. Mamdani. Lack of experience in policy proposals, saying he often ignores the inevitable trade-offs of governance, argues his call for rent freezes could restrict the. I've heard this one. Rejected support for government-run grocery stores? Really? Is that a thing he said? Is there like a quick video where he summarizes his beliefs or views or anything? I guess this is the day.
Maybe Cameron should be mayor.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just glad that Cameron can't run. It's
you
too
know,
late. It's too late.
Why not go down to the Zoomers? Okay, if we're gonna do a young millennial, why not a Zoomer mayor?
His Twitter has all his ads that summarize his policy website. Holy shit! I'm a big fan of this. They're very readable. Stands out. Yeah, unironically, I think design like this, I think, can be fun sometimes. Okay, New York is too expensive. Zone or lower cost and make life easier. Housing. Freeze the rent. Majority of New Yorkers are tenants. More than 2 million of them live in rent-stabilized apartments. These homes should be the bedrock of economic activity. Okay, seems kind of cringe. Build affordable housing. It's entirely on changing the zoning code to entice private development with the results that could fall short of big promises. We will put our public dollars to work and triple the city's production of permanently affordable, union-built, rent-stabilized homes, constructing 200,000 new units over the next 10 years. Okay, cringe. Cracking down on bad landlords. 1 in 10 renter households reported a lack of adequate heat last winter. 1 in 4 reported mice or rats in their homes. Half of my living quality. Okay, and base, I guess. If there's no way to do this, that would be good. If the landlord refuses to make a repair, the city will do it and send them the bill. Okay. Supporting homeowners and ending deed theft. 25% of all New York City homeowners spend more than half their income on housing, a burden felt most acutely in our city's immigrant communities and Black and Latino neighborhoods. Prior to becoming an assembly member, so we're going to work directly with these New Yorkers to keep them in their homes, serving as a foreclosure prevention. Okay. Safety. All New Yorkers deserve to be safe, but the Adams administration has failed to deliver the sense of safety. To require the Department of Community Safety to prevent violence before it happens. Police have a critical role to play, but right now we're relying on them to deal with the failures of our social safety net, which prevents them from doing their actual jobs. Through this new city agency and a whole-of-government approach, community safety will be prioritized like never before in New York City. The department will invest in citywide mental health programs and crisis response, including deploying dedicated outreach workers in 100 subway stations, providing medical services and vacant commercial units. Okay. City-owned grocery stores. Food prices are out of control. As a mayor, his own will create a network of city-owned grocery stores focused on keeping prices low. What? Is anything like this exist anywhere in America? Okay. Fare-free buses. Public transport should be reliable. On 5 lines across the city. How are you going to pay for it? Okay. He's here for his corporate pals to make the pockets. Loosen consumer practices of power. CEOs, cameras, monopolies, and monopoly power. And users understand of corporate greed. He'll fight misleading advertising and predatory contracts and ban all hidden fees. That's always good. Ban non-competes. Good for that. That's retarded. Or non-competes are crazy. No cost childcare. Okay. Where's the money coming from? Baby baskets for New Yorkers' newborns. Okay. Taxing corporations and the 1%. Okay, this is how we'll pay for it. Soren's revenue plan will raise the corporate tax rate to match New Jersey's 11.5%. Damn. Well, what is it already, actually, though? If it's already like 8 or 9%, then fuck it. Bringing in $5 billion, he will tax the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers, those earning above $1 million annually. A flat 2% tax. Right now, city income tax rates are essentially the same whether you make $50,000 or $50 million. Implement common sense procurement reform and census no bid contracts. Okay. New York, is it city? No, state. Tax brackets. What's bad about building affordable housing? It's just cringe. Just build more houses. I don't know why. The obsession with building affordable housing is just, it's a way to make it guarantee that you will never accomplish anything ever. Just build more shit. I don't even know how does affordable housing even work? Do you have to show or prove that you don't make over a certain amount of money to qualify for it? Or like if you make too much, they kick you out. I actually don't even know how it works in practice. Just build more houses, okay? It's cringe. Okay, New York income tax rates. Does New York City have its own income tax? Is that true? That's crazy. Damn. Okay. What about New York State? New York City has, so 3.86. Damn. 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 Isn't that building more houses just more affordable? I don't get it. Just build more houses, period. When you say like quote unquote affordable housing, you place a whole bunch of restrictions on what can be built. You make the process shittier for everybody. You just like fuck everything up. Just like build more houses. Whatever the market wants, build more houses and then do that. But New York City has limited space, so if you don't build affordable houses, prices could go up from outsiders coming into the city and displacing lower class. Then they can't afford to move there. I mean, what do you mean? I don't know. Then don't live in New York City. Live somewhere else. The argument for free public transport is that the economic activity allows. I don't know if it will pay for itself, though, through just increased tax revenue. Maybe you just have to divert it from somewhere. I feel like there's probably argument. There's probably an argument somewhere that more public transportation produces more economic activity that makes it worth it or whatever. Many cities that people have to drive into get income taxes to recover money for leaving the city to other towns. Interesting. Okay. Is this the article that I just had open? New York State income tax rates. Okay. Damn. You're getting, whew. That's all. If you're in New York State and then you live in New York City, that's like almost a if you made $300,000 a year, you're in a bracket where it's a 7% state tax, an extra 4% city tax, and then on top of your federal taxes. They're not fucking around over there. Raising the minimum wage to $30. Jesus, true base. What is the minimum wage in New York City right now? Minimum wage, New York City. Is $16.50 an hour? Okay, just double it, no problem. Based. Didn't you say you looked at the tax numbers not long ago from New York City and it wasn't actually as much as you feared? I mean, it's not like prohibitive if you really want to live there, but it's just, they're not fucking around. Okay, we don't need this. All right. Our boy.
Senator, thank you very much for spending the time to have this conversation.
It's good to be with you.
So you've...
Let me use the restroom before we get into this.